Action.
Rolling.
Rolling.
There's nothing actually rolling.
There's nothing rolling. Yeah. Except your fucking eyes.
Yeah, right. Right. Click, click, click.
What's good, you creeps?
As you can tell, unscripted. Unscripted podcast. Fucking 85% of your stuff is about murder.
About murder. That's fair. Because our listeners love fucking murder. Hit them up with the Gmail.
You can send us an email with your suggestions, comments, or concerns at basedontrueeventspodcast@gmail.com.
Boom. Oh, hell. As you can see, we're rolling.
Oh, snap. Oh, snap.
I don't have to say it anymore. What's up, dude?
What's up, man?
It's good to be back. Good to have you back in the fucking basement,
yeah,
dude.
man. Fucking... I guess we've all decided as a planet that we just don't agree that there's a pandemic anymore.
Well, people are just like, well, I guess it's over.
Yeah, like... It went real hard. Like, we took a real fucking hard left from everybody hiding in their house to, fuck it.
Go to fuck it, who cares?
Yeah.
Dude, I honestly think people were tired of it. And obviously, as you guys can tell, if you're not watching, because we are recording, you're listening, we are back in the basement, hence the better audio.
Yes.
So I think people are just over it, dude. Even though they probably shouldn't.
I don't
know. It's still...
Like, you don't get... Like, nobody got to just go, we're just over the AIDS thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's just...
true.
It's fine.
It's all right.
Yeah, like, whatever.
Well, I mean, it's weird because, now with everything that's going on in the country, people have just stopped talking about, well, mainly the media.
Yeah.
But there's so many other focuses. And so I'm hoping that it doesn't come back, full swing. And, yeah.
I mean, I don't know, man.
But,
like, fuck it. I guess you can't like live your life in fear, like. But I mean, I think there's a certain amount of like justified safety.
Well,
that
fuck
we
yeah!
need to be,
I lived in fear for a couple of weeks because it was
Yeah.
like, this shit is scary as hell.
Yeah.
And it's not that I'm not. I'm just cautious now, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I'm back at work, so I'm like, motherfucker, I'm wearing a mask.
Fucking have an option. Like,
well, right. I have to. Yeah, no shit. But too many people are walking around as though it's actually over, and that's the other thing that scares me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, maybe. I'm not going to shake your hand yet, dude.
Yeah, like, cool.
Cool. Air 5.
Yeah.
So, well,
Like,
shit,
I don't
man.
know, man.
We're not in quarantine, so let's not talk about fucking quarantine.
Yeah.
You've been building a deck. What else is going on?
Fuck, man. Dude,
getting heat
fucking
stroke and
deck
shit.
almost fucking killed me, bro.
Dude, you picked the hottest days of the fucking year.
Let's be real honest. I didn't pick shit.
Well, okay.
I was chosen.
You were picked, right?
Yeah, man. And like, it's my in-laws, man, and they do a ton of shit for us.
Yeah,
so,
I know. Yeah.
I mean, the balance, the scale of ode was very heavily in
You can't.
their
Yeah, I know. I was
department.
giving you shit. You can't say no.
Yeah, like
Also, they're cool, so
Yeah.
you're not gonna say no.
Right. So it was hot, dude. It was a long fucking weekend, man. It was like 95 yesterday.
Oh,
and,
dear
dude,
God.
Yeah,
Was it really?
Yeah, man. And we were just out in the fucking, dude, like in the fucking heat, like in the sun.
I mowed the yard, but I did it at like 8:45. You know what I'm saying? Like, sun's almost down, so I'm gonna do it now.
Yeah, like 3:00. Like, I had to go inside and like run cold water over my head and like.
Oh, you did this in the middle of the fucking day.
Oh, dude, we started like 10 a.m.
Oh.
Yeah, dude, and I was cooked by like 3:00 yesterday afternoon, and I literally like when I was like 15, I had heat stroke so bad that like I ended up in the hospital. Like
No shit. Was it dehydration? Is that what?
It was like heat stroke. My body temperature was 106 something.
Oh,
like,
dear God.
Yeah, like
I don't actually know what heat stroke does to you. So you literally
like
overheat.
It's like, it's like going into shock, but from heat. like your brain just is cooking. Like it's 105 fucking 106 degrees. Like meat starts cooking at like 110.
That
you
sounds
know?
awful.
Yeah.
I'm not laughing like it's
So-
your. I'm just like that sounds fucking horrible.
So like I'm generally a little bit more sensitive to heat, and it's probably like a concern thing. Like when I start feeling like the way my body reacts when it gets overheated, it feels like a million needles poking in all over my skin.
Oh, dude,
and
I
stuff.
get that same. If I start sweating, I absolutely get that.
Yeah, and it feels like bugs are kind of crawling all over me.
Dude.
And then when it gets to the next level, it's like a lot of dizziness, and then it gets to the point where like you start seeing like pinholes.
Oh, I've never got there, so knock on wood.
Yeah, so there's a lot of.
That's okay that shuts off, by the way.
Yeah, I was like,
we're recording, and so yeah.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Well, start over.
Yeah, but so like when I start seeing those like telltale signs, I kind of try to back away a little bit.
Well, right.
Yeah,
so if you start getting dizzy, motherfucker, like drink some water first.
So like I pulled away, like poured cold water over my head, like, you know, fucking laid in a cold dark room for about 6 hours, not 6 hours, about 30 minutes, 45 minutes, like reset the thermostat a little bit. But then I was like, dude, I'm done. There was people there who were helping, and you know, I went home, and then this morning I got back after it at like 10 o'clock this morning, and I didn't get home until like 5. And I mean, today was like 10 almost 10 degrees cooler, and it was still like,
yeah, but dude, like
it
at
was still
10,
pretty
it's like, oh fuck, this is nice out.
Yeah.
But one, that's just sitting still.
Yeah, that's
Like
not
if
heavy
you-
effort.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then by noon, it's like, it's fucking miserable.
Right. So
And that's still sitting still. It sucks sitting still in that heat.
yeah, and
You're fucking lifting and
cutting
hammering
boards
and-
and screwing them in, and then like long arguments about, okay, there's, you know, we how do we adjust for this distance from point A? Like, dude, it was so, and then like calculating like, okay, do we have enough boards? Is there enough screws? There's 1,200 screws that go into this deck, so. You know,
oh dear God!
yeah,
I'd be like,
dude,
if
it
I
was-
knew that number ahead of time, can I just like chip in to hire someone?
Yeah. So it was funny. Like I think it was one of those episodes where we were talking about something like this, and you were like, "Why don't you just hire somebody?" I was like, "Her dad's really the guy."
Well,
that
I
you would
said call the
hire."
guy, and you're like, he is the fucking guy.
Yeah, he's the guy. So.
But if I heard 1,200 screws, I'm just going, okay, so 1,200. I'd be counting. I'd be at 10 going, fuck this. Like, I couldn't get that number
Dude,
out of my head.
So at the end of the day today, it's not done. It needs to be done.
Oh, shit. You got to go back?
Yeah, I'm gonna go back after work tomorrow. But and then it's still not done. Like tomorrow, so we ran out of wood.
Oh, goddamn.
We're fucking 6 boards shy.
I'd be like, I'll go to Home Depot and sit in the AC.
We're 6 boards shy.
Oh,
And the
dude,
place
so
that
close.
and the place that he bought the wood only had 4 boards. So the 4 boards, and he's like, dude, I need to figure out like if they're gonna fucking, you know,
cut down trees and make more boards?
well, like if they're gonna get a
What are they-
shipment in time,
Right.
so I can fucking finish what started. But this dude is so fucking handy that like he's literally like using the old deck to build his shed.
Right.
So he still has all the old wood. So he's like, look, I can just shore it up and just put fucking
Right.
6 pieces of the old wood back down. He's just
Well,
like,
can't you just go to Home Depot that like has all the wood? Okay, don't hands up. Fair enough.
man, he's
Let him do it. It's
yeah,
his deck. the man.
I didn't fucking spend a dime on the deck. So
Well, yeah, that's true. And if I were you, I would probably be like, tell me what to do. I'm not making any decisions.
Yeah.
Hand me a hammer and tell me what, or I guess a drill.
Yeah.
I guess you don't use nails.
no,
Yeah.
not unless you want it done right.
I didn't do wood shop.
Yeah, no. So
I have a bench upstairs that I made for our dining room, and it's really wobbly. Guess what?
Yeah.
I use nails.
yeah, dude. Well,
Damn it.
well, dude, like I mean, dude, we were like trying to figure out how to cut like a 70-degree angle. But
Oh.
it's not even the fact that like we figured out easily how to obviously get to a 70-degree angle.
Right.
But the problem is the saw that he had, like he's got every implement known to man, but like this like miter saw, like industrial strength miter saw that he has, which turns the angle that you would need.
Yeah, it goes
Right. Well, it's got a bar, so you can't it wouldn't the 60-degree angle that you had to cut. You couldn't get the wood into that angle to cut it. Like, dude, so literally he took the railing off of one whole side of it. And he's like, we're going to put all the boards down, and then I'm just going to saw all of them off at the right angle. I was like, all right, man.
fucking
whatever, dude.
go MacGyver, dude.
I was
Whatever.
like, whatever. So, like, we ended up fucking pulling a handrail, like a fucking whole thing off this fucking thing.
You're like 10,000, damn it, 999 or 10,000, 1,999.
Oh no,
counting backwards.
Those 1,200 screws are just the deck. Like that's not has nothing to do with the railing or.
Oh god.
Yeah, dude. So it's
well, I'm feeling for you, man.
Yeah. So it was a warm weekend.
All right.
It was a warm weekend.
Back in the basement, woodshop 101, folks. New podcast.
New podcast.
Woodworking.
Home improvement.
Home improvements with
Home improvement mistakes with the Based on True Events podcast.
No shit. Well, I don't know, man. I ain't got nothing else to talk about. We've been doing the same shit, work, and hanging out with the kids. So I don't have any cool stories. So
cool.
Why don't you give a plug? We got a new website coming out.
We do.
I was hoping, actually, shit. By the time this airs, it should be done.
Oh, okay. Well, why don't you plug the website?
Well, our website is going to be based on trueeventspodcast.com. Mm-hmm. That's pretty fucking simple. So that's going to be our going to be our main hub. Of course, we still want you guys to hit us up on social media. But the nice thing about, and we've talked about it past 3 episodes, the nice thing about the hub is that you go to one spot and you can get either the YouTube link, the Facebook, the Instagram, Twitter, whatever. But in case you don't go to the website, tell them what our
So we're on Instagram and we're on Facebook.
Yeah, we are.
Based on True Events Podcast.
We're also on the Twitter.
We're on Twitter at Podcast Bote, BOTE.
Yeah, just type in Based on True Events Podcast on YouTube, and you can
find us.
You can look at our pretty faces.
You can find some videos.
Hopefully this video comes out well, and I'm gonna turn. I got a Unicorn Farts Bill shirt on.
No, man.
Represent.
I came with my polite as fuck.
I saw that
T-shirt.
I wonder if my wife saw that. I need to ask her.
She looked at me kind of funny walking in the door, so I'm pretty sure she did.
Yeah.
And I'm glad your kid can't read yet.
Yeah. No shit.
I can only wear this shirt for so much longer.
Oh, true. Knox is gonna be like,
yeah. So that's where we are.
That's awesome. Oh yeah, and by the way, if you don't do social medias, or I guess fucking. If you can't search for a website.
We have Based on True Events Podcast at gmail.com for your questions, comments, and concerns that you might want to take offline and not do in a large scale.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, interact with us. Hit us up. We are fucking cruising. I don't know the number, but we're
like right at 10,000.
I mean, yeah,
like 9,500, 10,000.
Actually, it would be awesome if we hit 10,000 when this airs. That'll be dope as fuck. So still amazing. So keep that shit coming. Yeah. I think we're gonna have to we'll have to select 4 of the listener suggestions to post soon.
Yep. So we're kind of off the rails. I think we wanted to kind of do our own thing just until we got the website launched, and we did quarantine. Is it quarantine, not quarantine? Quarantine, not quarantine. What the fuck?
Well, it was quarantine and then curfew. Yeah.
Yeah. So, when you're doing, your part for civic duty, it's kind of hard to really bitch. What I'm
that's
saying?
Fair. Yeah, I agree.
I'm like, all right, as much as we complained about being in quarantine, like, come on, man, we're just helping out, by not leaving,
being safe, and literally probably saving lives.
Yeah. So.
We suffered through Zoom for a good reason.
Yeah. So,
but yeah, what you were saying is accurate. We're knocking out some of our own topics, but we definitely are, looking at the suggestions, and we're gonna, we have a stockpile. We'll still do. I wrote for BOTE.
Yeah.
We will choose our favorite.
We are still doing our wrote for BOTE. We're also the suggestions that he was talking about. Since we are hurriedly approaching 10,000 listens, downloads, whatever you fucking want to call it. We kind of decided that, since this is as much our podcast as it is yours, you guys are the ones who've really driven the the podcast to where it is. So, we want you to listen to the stuff that you want to listen to. So when your suggestions come out, we're going to throw 4 of them in the tank. You guys vote on which order you want to listen to them, and
we'll knock them shits out.
Knock them shits
out.
out.
I do enjoy that because we don't pick the order, you know what I mean? So it's like, I'm literally, like last time I got lucky. Well, I felt lucky because I didn't want to do the ayahuasca or the CIA, and I was like, fuck yeah, Little, and what was the other one?
Mad Scientist.
Yeah.
Mad Scientist.
Which did not come out like I thought it was going to. It ended up being like, hey, all right for Russian scientists. Fucking 2-headed dogs. Yeah. All in the name of science.
All in the name of science, man.
So, all right, well, shit, I think you're up tonight.
I am, man.
So, Season 3, man. Fucking
3.
Start us off.
Episode 1.
What the fuck we got going on?
So I picked this because I kind of wanted, like, okay, the gore aspect of life tends to drive a true-ish crime podcast like ours.
It's true.
So I selected Ed Gein.
Ooh. That's awesome. Yeah, you had asked me and I said yes, dude. Fucking do it. He's a heavy hitter. People have requested it, I'm pretty sure, right?
Oh yeah. Ed Gein is like, all right. So anyone who's not, because we have people who listen to our podcast that are not deep into the mythos of serial killers.
Well, and technically, by the way, we have said that our podcast is a true-ish crime podcast / story time because what we're doing is telling stories. So you're right. That's valid.
Yeah. So,
not everybody's a fan of.
So Ed Gein is an American serial killer. His reign of terror, so to speak, was in the 1950s. But he's got a really fucked up life, and we're going to start at the beginning, and we're going to kind of dig through him. The reason that Ed Gein is kind of a popular serial killer, he's a popular serial killer in the idea of kind of what his myth became. Like, he's dark as fuck. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. I actually think that I get him confused a lot, with some of the others. And so I'm interested to see where it started off. But
we're going to lay some sticks straight for you this evening.
By the way, popular serial killers, that just sounds... We're not fans, just in case this is, for whatever reason, your first episode of listening. Yeah. We're not fans of these fuckers, all right?
No.
We don't condone, we don't have tattoos for these assholes.
We generally take a pretty hard line, negative stance on everything.
We usually condone killing
the killers.
The killer, right?
Yeah. So Edward Theodore Gein was born on August 27th, 1906. And he was born in Wisconsin to a heavily abusive and raging alcoholic father and a fucking brimstone and death kind of religious mother.
Oh, what a mix.
Yeah.
Dude, you said he was born when?
1906.
I did not know that his whole reign of terror, as you said, was that old. For some reason, I thought it was like early, 70s-ish.
So when we go through this, you're going to find out why you thought it was in the 70s.
Or okay. Maybe even later.
Because there's a couple of really, I found, were historically interesting facts about this guy.
All right.
Okay, so born in 1906, he actually had an older brother, which I didn't know prior to going into this. He is known as the Plainfield Butcher.
No shit. His brother was a serial killer?
No. Ed Gein was known as the Plainfield Butcher, but Ed Gein had an older brother.
Was he a killer?
Well,
was he like a fucked up? Okay.
Well, we don't know a whole lot about his brother, but we'll get to that.
All right.
So, Ed Gein, he actually, basically, they lived in Wisconsin, nice, quiet, fucking nowhere town of Plainfield.
Cheeseheads.
Yeah. So he grew up in a household where If the dad was talking to you, it was yelling at you and beating you. If the mom was talking to you, it was all women are whores and they're all harlots and you're only gonna burn in hell and everything. Like you can only trust me. And
Oh God.
so it was one of those, like, basically all women are lustful, harlots, and basically like the mom from The Waterboy times like 10.
Right.
Okay. So
Dude, I've always wanted, like, that's such a fucking weird take. Like, how can, as a mother, how can you say that all women are like? I'd always question that. And I'd be like, well, hold up, Mom. Like, what?
Wait a minute. You're the only one that made it
literally
through?
But I guess if since birth, if that's what's ingrained in fear, your fear
so
driven. Yeah, okay, fair.
I mean, I don't know where that comes from.
Answers.
Yeah,
I need them.
Poor upbringing by her family. I don't know. So anyway, so they live in this little fucking nothing town, and basically Ed Gein grew up kind of gangly. Because of his home life, he was obviously very reserved and basically like easy picking for the bullies at school.
Okay.
So after a few incursions of being bullied at school, it was said that he left school very early and just started his life.
Just dropped out
of school.
Like high school?
No, it was younger than that.
Damn.
And basically just lived and worked on the farm with the family.
Mama probably loved that.
Yeah.
Keep my baby at home.
So kind of a, it's a lot of this, alcoholic father, crazy mom. There's not a whole lot of information about his youth. Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of serial killers that's a recipe
like
for
what. Yeah, that's kind of like the storyline behind it.
Right. Okay.
So anyway, so fast forward into their early 30s is when the first like major event happens. The first major event that happens is the alcoholic father dies.
Oh. How'd he die, do you know?
Fucking
poisoning.
Alcoholism. Like,
Right.
I don't know, heart attack, fuck.
I didn't know if it was like...
he could have wrapped his truck around a tree.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. Dad dies.
Ed didn't kill him.
No,
There's no part of the story that matters.
That actually, of everything like that, was never even... That's never even been... suggested.
Okay, I didn't know if it was
You'll see that he generally tends to curtail his murders to a gender.
Okay, I got it.
Okay. So after hearing the news that her husband had died, the Augusta is the mother's name. She promptly suffers a massive stroke.
Oh shit!
And is house ridden, and which Ed happily keeps her at home. And so that's one thing I'll kind of state here early, is that he did not have a problem with the interaction between him and his mother.
Okay.
He was fine with the arrangement. Okay. The older brother, however, was not okay with the treatment of the family by the mother. And he ended up falling in love and trying to escape the woo of his mother by basically falling in love with a divorced woman from the town, to which the mother disowned him. Ah,
right. Well, hold on real quick. Were you hinting at like Ed and the mama were diddling? Okay, that's what I thought. I'm like, dude, I feel like fucking. I felt dirty for even thinking that, but I'm pretty sure you were laying that pretty heavy. I was like, okay,
maybe.
All right, sorry, jumping ahead.
So, I mean, they never say this.
Oh,
okay,
got
but
it.
It's heavily implied in all of the research that I've done.
Right.
That there was a pseudo incestuous relationship going on between Ed and the mother.
Okay.
Or if it wasn't an actual incestuous relationship, it was like clinically fucking codependent.
Yeah. I got you. Either way,
Yeah.
not right.
So basically, the dad dies. Ed kind of takes over the role of man of the house, maybe man of the bedroom. We don't know.
Just me and
The
Ma.
the older brother, he's like, dude, I'm out. Okay,
I don't blame him.
Yeah. So
Mama's.
he goes and he's trying to like start this life with this divorcee from the town, and he's trying to like actually do Ed a solid, and he goes back to the farmhouse and he's like trying to kind of like talk some sense into Ed, like, dude,
Get the fuck out of the house,
dude,
Ed.
this is unhealthy. Like,
Right.
you need to walk away.
Yeah.
So a fire breaks out in one of the farthest reaches of the farm, to which the police department and fire department kind of arrive. By the way, in case I didn't mention that, both Ed and his older brother are in their early 30s when all this is happening.
Okay. Yeah, I think you
Okay.
said 30s, yeah.
Yeah. So
I didn't know if you meant like 1930s, or I assumed.
Well, he's born in
Well,
1906.
actually, pretty
so,
fucking close, right?
Yeah. So anyway, this is when the brother shows up at the farm to kind of like, hey, dude, this whatever. This is like 1942, 1943-ish.
All right.
Okay. So we're like in the heart of the World War II and, stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
So the brother shows up. They don't really talk about this, like how this fire started, but on the land, a fire starts in like one of the reaches of the farm. Fire department shows up to kind of work on the blaze or whatever. And Ed is found distraught wandering around in the fields, and they're like, okay, dude, what's going on? He's like, I saw my brother. He disappeared into the fire.
Oh, shit.
So the police go in and go looking for the brother, and they find the brother dead in the forest and he had a massive head injury to the back of the skull.
Not a fire.
The medical examiner at the time ruled his death a smoke inhalation death, and Ed was never questioned for the crime.
That smoke inhalation really just caved in my skull.
Yeah. So
Wow.
it is argued, although never confirmed,
right.
that this was Ed Gein's first murder.
Right.
Okay, so this is in like 43 or something like that. That's really all that's kind of said about the brother.
Wow.
Not anything about like if he was kind of like had deviant behavior or anything like that. I think
Right.
he was probably pretty fucked up dude too, but it was like he was like fucked up in the I need to get the fuck out of here.
My family's fucked up. I'm out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
some people are, deal with shit in different ways, but
so Ed gets what he had always wanted, his mother's attention all to himself.
just me and Mama.
Right.
Gross.
Just him and Mama.
Gross.
So fast forward a couple years,
Please do.
and it's actually the end of World War II. Nothing of note happens to the Gein family in that time period that's ever really mentioned, except Augusta, the mother, made a rare trip out into public with Ed to buy straw from a man named Smith.
Okay, random fucking
where
factoid.
Ed and his mother witness Smith beating a dog to death
Oh, dear
in the
God.
middle of the street.
What
and
the fuck?
The mother goes into a horrid fucking rampage, but not about the dog.
Oh.
She's losing her shit because Smith has the company of some woman other than his wife.
What?
And that's the only thing she actually has a problem with.
She's pissed because he's cheating on his wife,
Supposedly, yes.
but don't worry about that dog that you're
Yeah,
fucking killing.
It had nothing to do with the animal that was beaten to death. So they end up. He goes home, and they go home or whatever. And it's December of that year. She actually suffers a second stroke and dies. Okay.
All right.
And then so
I shouldn't say this, but I'm not really mad about that.
yeah.
Not sad about that.
yeah. So
Sounds like a horrible person.
So like every normal human being would do, when your mother passes away, he seals her bedroom the exact way that she had left it.
I assume she's not in it. Like, he didn't keep her corpse.
No.
Okay. Just making sure.
Yeah. So, but it's interesting you say that.
Well, because Carl Tanzler, and then the last one that we did, that shit's still...
Dude, we're gonna take some weird turns here, bro.
All right. Yeah, I know. It's Gein.
So he seals her room off.
All right.
And then he proceeds to seal off almost every other room in the farmhouse except for a couple. His interests then become very distraught. He starts ordering Nazi medical journals.
Oh, God.
Pulp horror novels, lots of pornography.
Depends what kind of porn. I guess.
I mean, dude,
I know.
Honestly, I think this guy was probably using the pornography as something other than pornography and jerking off to the Nazi shit.
Right.
So anyway, after, a little bit of time, his interest turned to taxidermy, where he then started grave robbing. He started off by digging up the graves of women and removing their organs.
Oh, human taxidermy.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Fucking A.
Yeah.
A big difference, dude. I'm like, well,
okay.
Grave robbing dog. Like, how does he know where the...
So he starts digging up women's bodies out of the cemetery, and he doesn't. At first, he's just removing organs.
That's it. That's all.
but then he's returning the bodies to the grave.
Oh, weird.
And covering them back up, and he takes the organs home and eats them.
Oh, hold on. You went so fucking fast past that. Hold the fucking... So that's what he was doing? He was taking the organs out to eat them?
Yeah. He was...
Dude, I really don't know.
He was trying his hand at some cannibalism.
Shit about Ed Gein.
Yeah.
Apparently.
So,
which I'm okay with.
He gets kind of lazy, bored. I'm not sure exactly what it is. He stops putting the bodies back in the graves, and just starts bringing them fucking home.
Oh, God.
This is where he can eat at his own leisure, I guess.
Oh, boy.
Oh
boy.
Yeah, so it gets...
Okay.
Dude, trigger warning, I guess. I don't know if you need it in the this is really just the beginning, because it gets way worse.
Right. Well, dude, trigger warning, you went right into that cannibal. You just said it so nonchalant. Yeah, and he was eating them.
Well, okay, so regardless of...
Season 3.
Yeah, regardless of his... extracurricular activities, he actually did have a fairly normal interaction with the community, as it were.
A lot of them do. They that whole second life or that. You know what I mean?
So he kind of worked around the town as a handyman, sometimes as a babysitter. He would actually drop off packages of meat to some of his clients that he described as venison.
I was getting ready to say, shit.
It wasn't venison.
It was not. But he was feeding.
Feeding
people.
Wow. But he was doing it from the people that he had excised from the cemeteries.
Dug up.
Women. Only women.
Only women?
Yeah. So, as his skills increased...
This is gamey.
As his skills increased and he had a stockpile of bodies, he started getting very, creative with what he was bringing back from the cemeteries. He was turning women's heads into soup bowls and coffee mugs. He was waste paper baskets were made out of rib cages.
Oh my God, he's an artist.
Yeah, he had made stockings out of women's leg skin. He made a tanned jacket out of a woman's chest. And it was said that he described it was a large-breasted woman that he the taxidermy, I guess. He'd gotten rather good at patchworking some things together, and he enjoyed putting the jacket on and dancing in the full moon.
Boy.
In her skin. He had gloves.
Some Buffalo Bill shit. Man.
Yeah. He had some gloves that he made out of human skin, a corset that was made of human skin. He has there was a belt that he made that had stud like nipples.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And on and on and on and on.
Oh my God.
So, but it's assumed that there's somewhere in the neighborhood of 40 plus women that he removed from cemeteries. So no one actually knows
40 plus
women. Oh, and yeah, he would, when he would take their faces off the skulls before he would make soup cups, he would stuff the faces and hang them on the walls as like deer trophies.
Oh
like,
my
shit.
God.
And lampshades were made of human skin.
I did hear about that actually.
Yeah.
Wow.
He made a tongue necklace. You can actually see that online.
Yeah, that's a disturbing picture. You showed that to me.
Yeah,
and
it's pretty fucked
the
up.
model's just kind of like,
why is this on me?
take this shit off.
Yeah.
Take the fucking picture.
Yeah. So.
Wow. Is this, and I don't want to give anything away because some people may not know this story, how it ends, but is all of these, like, how do they know this information? Is this, he basically...
We'll get there.
Okay.
We're getting there.
All right.
Okay. So, like I said, it's unknown how many people Ed Gein actually killed. It is argued...
But up to now, other than possibly his brother, he was just digging up already deceased, right?
Right. So...
Okay.
Later on, he will state that he didn't even realize that he was robbing these graves. That he would daydream about robbing graves and these dark, sinister things. And then he would kind of come out of the daze, and then he was like, oh shit, I guess I really did do that.
Whoa, new lamp.
Yeah.
What the fuck? So he's saying that he was like sleepwalking or whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Bullshit.
Daydreaming.
I call it bullshit.
Yeah. So, the one thing that is not really in question is the death of Molly Hogan. Okay. So the town of Plainfield was like a fucking hunting town. So like in hunting season, when people would go out, like there was nobody in town. So Mary Hogan was
why? Because everybody was out hunting.
Yeah, like they would go out into the fucking wilderness to fucking hunt, and there's nobody in town.
Okay.
So Mary Hogan was a barmaid that worked in the local town, and one evening, or it doesn't really say what time. Like I guess it like doesn't fucking matter. Ed Gein walks in and shoots her in the face, drags her body out, and then proceeds to take her home and chop her up with an axe and turned her into a chair.
Oh my God, a chair!
Yeah, just turned her into furniture.
Fuck.
So
Jesus.
Yeah. So this is what is. This is the first crime that he is legitimately credited with. Okay.
God damn.
This kind of like keeps his motor kind of like in idle for a little while.
What, like it fulfills his what a need
to slaughter,
to make furniture.
I guess. I guess he had enough chairs.
Oh. Well.
So,
oh, that's horrible.
But he, the next person that he kills is during, hunting season. He goes to the local hardware store where a 50-some-year-old woman was opening the hardware store. He walks in and fucking shoots her in the face, and he drags her body out as well.
What's he make?
Oh, we're getting there.
Oh God, that sounds so horrible.
So he definitely was using to his advantage the local population's not being there,
He was timing it.
Yeah, had timed this out so that.
So
he
I guess
could do
that's
it.
a whole year.
Yeah,
Possibly. I don't fucking know hunting season. But.
So he kills her and drags her out. Well, her son just happens to be a local law enforcement member.
Oh shit.
And he shows up to, basically like figure out, like basically probably showed up just to say hi to his mom.
Yeah, right.
His quiet day, whatever. And, notices that she's not there. And he starts kind of like looking around and notices there's a blood trail going out the back of the fucking hardware store.
Damn.
And so he's like, all right, man, I gotta start fucking figuring out what's going on. So he goes and looks at the registry. I guess back in the day, like you would write in the fucking log that you were in the fucking hardware store of like what you would buy and what you were, were there to trade, and sees Ed Gein's name on the registry.
Don't sign in, you dumbass.
So yeah, right. So he petitions the rest of the local law enforcement to have Ed Gein's farm searched. Later that night,
busted, dude. Your whole fucking house is. You walk in and you're like, well.
So they show up at Ed Gein's house late in that evening, where they find the body of his most recent victim splayed out in the farmhouse.
The dude's mom?
Yeah. Dude's mom.
Oh, no.
And he was basically hanging her up like you would hang meat. And she was so, like, fucking mutilated and shit that the police didn't even think it was a human.
Wow. At
the time. The head was removed, the intestine, the organ, all the internal organs had been removed. He had already started working on his skin retrieval from the body.
Well, yeah, if you see that, I mean, just your normal, you're like, there's no way that's a human. That chair is not fucking skin. That lamp, there's no way that I'm in this fucking house of horrors for real.
Right. So they walk into the house itself, where they find her heart sitting in a frying pan, ready to be prepared.
He just leaves meat out. Like,
they fucking, like, the whole house is like, I mean, basically toxic level of fucking decrepity. Like, there's like flies and shit on every surface. Like, everything is like rotting. It's just like fucking disgusting. They open the refrigerator door. The head of the first victim that he had killed, Mary Hogan, which had rotted away to basically just a skull at this point, was sitting there staring out the. I've got pictures of his bedroom, which there you can't see any bodies or anything, but like just you can see the kind of the condition and the quality of the house.
Dude, we're just watching. I don't know why, but fucking Hoarders show. It's on Netflix again, and I'm just like going, ugh. But this is a whole nother level of fucking disgusting.
So this guy is organ hoarder. So weird that's so hard to say. I'm glad that it's hard. I'm glad that it's hard to say.
It's not something that rolls off the tongue easy.
I've never thought I would have to say that statement.
Organ hoarder.
Organ hoarder. So they start logging all the stuff that's in the fucking farm.
He's not there, right? Like he's
they end up picking him up. Like it's not a real difficult search.
Okay, right.
And he doesn't like put up a fight, like
busted motherfucker.
But the guy, the dude, the sheriff, when he finds Ed Gein, he basically starts bashing Ed Gein's head into a brick wall until Ed Gein fucking admits and confesses to the crimes.
Oh wow.
This is, Wisconsin in the 1950s, so of course that
was his mom.
Yeah. So, and actually the sheriff, no, this is like the sheriff. This is the dude's mom.
Oh, sorry.
Like,
okay.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure they didn't let him on the farm.
I was like, I'm all right with that too. Like,
yeah. So the sheriff though that ended up taking Ed Gein in is said to have died of a heart attack very in short order after getting Ed Gein captured because of the stress of what he had seen on the farm,
right.
That it had taken such a toll.
Yeah, man. Like we, defense laughter and everything, and I'm all seriousness, like that's horrifying and terrible. But seeing pictures or hearing the story we can't even fucking imagine.
No,
I don't want to,
dude. And you got to imagine like the amount of time it probably took to actually pull.
Oh, they spent time in there.
Yeah, like having to get all this shit out because they had to like figure out if these were
missing people.
Yeah, and there's no fucking real way to tell like who some of these fucking people are, especially in the 1950s.
This is horrible. Who's the chair?
Yeah. Well, they figured out pretty quick.
Oh fuck,
they figured out who the chair was.
We knew who the chair was. I'm a dick.
Yeah. So they like I said, they attribute at least 40 grave robberies on the low end 40 grave robberies to him.
But only 2 murders.
2 official murders.
Official, right.
1 highly suspected murder, and around 9 possible missing persons that are attributed to him.
Okay, got it.
There's actually a lot of skepticism on how many he was kind of used as, they feel like, as a scapegoat for a lot of like missing persons cases. So they took him to trial for the murder of both women. They actually, no, they didn't. I take that back. They took him to trial for the murder of the first girl, Mary Hogan.
Okay.
Where it was decided that he was criminally insane at the time of the murder. So he was locked up in a mental institution. And the state of Wisconsin decided that it was too horrific and cost too much money. There was no reason for them to try him for any of the other crimes because they didn't want that shit in the papers either.
Right.
Like, I mean, dude, this is a fucking small town.
Yeah.
And it's 1950s.
Oh, dude, that rocked that town.
Yeah, dude. Actually, this fucking rocked the entire fucking country.
Well, right.
Because his fucking farmhouse, when word spread about this dude's crimes, like, it went fucking everywhere. Like, it was on the cover of, his house was on the cover of Life magazine and on the cover of Time magazine.
Jeez.
His trial was so widely like documented at the time, like it is arguably like, I mean, it's kind of like the hint and the rumors of like H.H. Holmes and stuff along those lines.
Yeah. Dude, he makes Holmes look like an angel,
a fucking Boy Scout.
Right.
So amongst the things that were found in his home was a bucket of female organs.
Jeez.
Including reproductive organs, 2 of which were identified as most likely being from females under the age of 15.
Oh, Jesus.
So that's why they're like, it's kind of hard. Like, we're attributing some more bodies to this.
Right.
So after 10 years of him being locked up in the mental institution, they actually did a trial on his competency, where it was decided that he was incompetent at the time of the crimes. He was mentally incompetent at the time of the crimes, and basically in the 1970s he did petition for parole. It did not go well.
Yeah, right. Come on. Jesus.
But that is why you actually think that this dude is actually from the 70s, is because it keeps coming back up. Now, the reason that I tell this story is, well, I mean, I kind of feel like this is kind of like one of those stories,
Right.
But this Ed Gein, even, if it's 2, 3, a million murders that, he is responsible for, he is the framework of so many famous horror stories
Leatherface
in American history. His court case and the idea of, Ed Gein and his mother is the motivation behind the book Psycho, which was later turned into the movie Psycho by
Really?
Alfred Hitchcock.
Oh wow.
That's like when you said it was, you
Right.
didn't keep the body. I was like,
Well, yeah.
The condition of the house and the farmhouse that was directly inspirational for Tobe Hooper when he made Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There's actually two characters that Thomas Harris used in Red Dragon.
Which ones? I read those.
Red Dragon, he is the main guy who would dance around in the moonlight.
Oh yeah.
And that was directly from Ed Gein's story.
Wow.
And then Wild Bill making the bodysuits out of the people, Thomas Harris used both of these.
I said Buffalo Bill.
Yeah.
That's fucking shit.
So these, there's been a ton of books written about this guy, but it's one of those things where nobody really fucking knows because he didn't fucking admit to anything. Like he only admitted to the two. He never they actually said he was while incarcerated he was a model inmate. Actually worked as a craftsman in there. Fairly crafty. And then worked as a medical assistant because I mean he probably did have a really good
This dude's really good. You're right. Oh,
really
man.
good at like sewing shit up and doing things.
Wow. So did they ever say was he like a schizophrenic or what did they?
No, it just never attributed.
Just not
to
competent.
Yeah. So he ended up he died in prison. Well, actually, it was a mental institution. It wasn't even in prison.
Right.
Of lung cancer, like 1967 or 1970 or some shit. No, he was like 70-something years old when he died. But yeah, man. So nobody really knows if he killed fucking 35 fucking people, if he killed all these people, or if he just killed these two women and maybe his brother. Right. And then was just a grave robber and a cannibal. And
well, it's what he did with the bodies that is so just monumentally fucked. Like it's horrible. Like fuck. Like I love every single movie that this fucking
that's based on
it. I wish none of that happened, but this is something straight out of a horror film. Like it would be. I mean, then again, I mean. Fucking Hellraiser, dude. What are those based off of? Like, you got to have a pretty fucking
Amazon blood cults, actually.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, that's that.
Okay, another conversation, possibly.
Well, Pinhead himself is he's based off of an Aztec, like
no shit. I didn't even know
priest.
That.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, I was gonna say something like that twisted I would hope that it would be based off of something. Otherwise. Wow, you got a pretty wild imagination.
Yeah. So Clive Barker actually wrote. I'm pretty sure, like you can fucking spot check this, but I'm pretty sure Clive Barker wrote the Pinhead film or Pinhead book. It was based on after he had read about self-mutilation and basically slave mutilations during the Aztec reign. Wow. Down in South
you guys can fact check us. I'm not gonna do that.
Okay, I'm just telling you. I mean, we did an Amazon blood cult or Aztec blood cults episode already.
We did. Pinhead did not come up though.
No, he did not. And that was really probably just in interest of time.
Yeah, bro, that's fair. Already. Wow. So I didn't realize that so many, and this is why Gein. I always want to say his name wrong.
Yeah,
it is so.
Is why he
the notoriety.
Okay, so if he let's say his brother slipped and fell in the fucking woods and smashed his head and then died of smoke inhalation, and that he only killed these two women and did the horrible things that he did to these two women.
Yeah,
that's horrible. And I agree that he should have been locked up for his entire life, and that is this morbid, terrible fucking situation. That is just looking at these two people that he decided that have been linked officially to him as murder.
Right.
Now, the 40 whatever bodies that he pulled out of the cemetery and did various art projects with and then fed to his neighbors
and then fed to the neighborhood. That's fucking twisted.
So I mean, dude, like you could take the story of Ed Gein, like, you would have to censor this fucking thing down so fucking brutally to make a movie about Ed Gein. I don't know, you get it on the fucking screen.
Yeah.
There's
got to be a movie about
think
Ed Gein.
about, oh yeah, I'm sure. Like, I don't give a fuck enough to watch. I just did the research. Like,
yeah, I'm good.
but think about how menacing they had to make Leatherface.
Right.
Like, think about, like, how, like, back in the fucking Hitchcock days, like, how menacing they had to make Norman Bates.
Right.
Think about how menacing Wild Bill is, and how menacing,
how
like,
disturbing
all these characters are. And it's all one fucking dude
right.
in the reality of things. And honestly, like, if you see pictures of him, like, he's a pretty unassuming, he looks like just like a little woodworking guy. Like, he doesn't, I mean, he doesn't look like Panzram. Like, Panzram has that, like, crazy death stare. He doesn't look like Ramirez. Like, he doesn't look like some of these, like, really fucking over the top crazy motherfuckers. I mean, he definitely does. He looks like there's a couple screws loose.
He looks like Sling Blade.
Yeah, he does not. He does not look like the epitome of terror, which is really, like, there are so many nightmares attributed to this dude's legend. It is fucking ridiculous.
Rightfully so.
Yes, he is a fucking horrifying human being.
Yeah, man. Shit like that, man. Just making a chair, for fuck's sake. Like, where does that come from?
Cups, coffee cups. And
I don't know
soup.
why the chair. I think maybe it's just because of the size of it. I don't know.
Yeah,
like.
Rib cages made into waste paper baskets and fucking lampshades.
Dude, like, his entire house was literally
was decorated with people.
Holy fuck.
Yeah. That was, but it wasn't like he took care of it either. Like, he lived in like imagine 40 dead bodies just rotting.
Well, the smell alone. I mean, clearly it was a farm, so I'm assuming there was no neighbors, because I mean, I can't imagine. Or they thought he was a butcher. I don't know.
Yeah, but, like, no, like, they said when they walked into the house that it was such an overwhelming hit from the smell that, like, everybody, like, had to like let it air out. Like, I think they couldn't even go back into the fucking house until like 4 a.m.
Yeah, dude. I can't even imagine.
He just left the removed heart of the woman he had just killed sitting in the frying pan. Like, he hadn't cooked it yet.
I know.
He was just sitting there.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'll get to it. There's, like, bugs and shit crawling all over everything, maggots growing out of fucking shit, and he's just like, oh, this is my place.
Yeah. Cozy.
Yeah. So.
Ed Gein.
That is the story of the Butcher of Plainfield.
So Butcher of Plainfield was his moniker, is that right?
I mean, that's like one of the, he's got, they all got like 19 fucking names, but
dude, the original Leatherface is so gritty that this, you know what I mean? Like, this is the closest film that I've seen that I can imagine, because I've seen those visuals.
Yeah.
Because that film is fucking one of my favorites, phenomenal, but it's so gritty.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Leatherface is...
I can just imagine that the soundtrack from the original Leatherface is just playing on loop in that dude's mind.
Oh, dude, right.
Like, like, over and over and over again.
Wow.
But like, I mean, that is actually the thing. Like, you see these fucking crazy fucks who they go down these like weird tangents or whatever, but it's like based on something.
Right.
This dude, like, he did all this stuff. Like, I mean, all right, like, let's be honest. Some of it's probably Nazi experiments. Because that was his reading material.
That's true. I forgot about that.
So, I mean, he probably, a fairly large chunk of his psychosis was melded in with all the shit and torture that he went through with his mom and his dad. And then his reading material is Nazi fucking mad scientists or lab experiments. And then it kind of mesh with pornography, and it just meshes into this fucking monster of a human being.
Yeah, right. And he clearly wasn't stable to begin with, and then you start reading this stuff. Remember, I did the Russian mad scientist, and I kept like searching for just mad scientist or science experiments gone wrong, and it was always like, Holocaust, German, like Nazi, and I was like, oh God, don't research this. But so if that's what you're reading before you go to bed, and you're already not all there,
Yeah, man.
that makes a little bit more sense of what
Yeah. So, episode 1, season 3.
Season 3 off to a bang. Woo.
Yeah. So,
Wow, dude. Ed Gein. I don't even have I don't have any questions. You covered it all, and it's just honestly, this is one that I knew about the lampshade and some of it. I didn't know to what extent. I didn't know that he only killed, well, in theory, or
officially attributed to 2.
Right.
Yeah, I thought I
didn't know he was grave robbing. I thought he was killing people.
Dude, I thought his fucking body count was going to be huge when I pulled this episode.
And it could be, but yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying. But
like they were like, dude, 2's enough.
1 is plenty.
Yeah, like 2 is too much, and like, like if he got others, like we're just gonna lump everybody into it and say he did it, and fucking like go pick apart. Like if you want to fucking.
Oh, your whole story could have been Ed Gein killed one person and made a chair out of her, and I'm like, all right, I'm
sold.
He's fucked. Hence Leatherface.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Damn. What a.
So one of the darkest episodes I've
that
had to research.
That had to be some fun research. Yeah.
Yeah. It was not fun. No. I'm glad to be able to put this one to bed.
Yeah. Wow.
So
tear up your notes, dude.
Yeah, right. So
don't leave notes around. I thought about the other day. I was looking at my notebook, and like my son like picked it up, and he's sitting there like drawing on one of the pages, and I'm like, you know what? Like, there's stuff in there, like from all of our episodes, and I'm like, when he starts to read, I don't know if I can explain to him why Daddy has that shit written down in his book.
You gotta fucking. Your side hustle is
right.
Is the
but
fucking
when he's like
terror,
young, it's like,
hey,
how do you tell your kid that? Yeah,
I look at your wall, bro. Like you got Leatherface and fucking sleepaway camp posters. Like you got all sorts of creepy fucking dolls and weird shit. Like, and you're worried about him reading something you wrote down. Like, no, dude, it's par for the course for your.
That is fair. Don't make me sound like a fucking monster here.
No, like none of it's like.
No,
the dolls are weird.
The dolls are weird. We've
covered that.
We've covered this.
But I mean, I'm just saying, like
Halloween.
Like he has to do work to read your notebook. He can just come down here and glance.
Oh, he's been in here.
Yeah,
and he's like, weird, cool. He doesn't love the clown. Actually, the clown bothers him more than the Exorcist, which is funny.
No, I feel him on that. Yeah, so.
Oh shit.
I don't know.
Maybe there's something wrong with me.
Yeah. No, you grew your entire life around the prospect of not having a 2-year-old at
it's very true.
40-something years old.
It's very, very true. Did not plan on this.
Yeah. So.
But here we are.
There we go.
All right, Gein, man. Yeah. Good shit.
Started off with a deck, ended up with Gein.
That's right. Oh shit. Well, yeah, I don't know what you're doing next week, but
yeah,
throw us some suggestions. If not, I'm sure we got a few.
Yeah, no, I mean,
I have a feeling you won't do anything too gory.
I honestly, if it was going to be the episode that I was going to do tonight, so it was probably be my episode that I do next week.
Well, I'm stoked about that one.
Yeah,
I don't know much about him, so I would think that
tune in next week.
That's right. I would think in comparison, it's a little bit softer.
Well, no, you're very wrong.
Fantastic.
The body count is exponentially larger. Like even on the worst day, the worst attributations of like everyone that we've ever covered will not touch
Nazi space.
Everybody connected, everybody tied together, even on their highest expectations.
The space Nazi.
Nobody's gonna touch the dude that I'm supposed to do next week.
Well, kiddos.
And he did a lot of them himself, which is even really
that's even worse,
even more disturbing.
All right, shit. Well, I don't want to hear any more till next week. So,
yeah.
All right, man.
All right, bro.
Good shit.